About 6 months after my husband and I got married, we got into a terrible fight. I mean, it was bad. We yelled, screamed, and ultimately, I stormed out. I was so mad. Do you want to guess what we fought about? A journal. You see, when we were dating, I had made him this journal. I wrote 52 entries, one for every week of the year. Positive encouragements, devotions, thoughts that I had for him. It took me weeks to create. And I found that journal about 6 months into our marriage and asked him if he had read it. And he hadn't. All that time I had put into creating this for him, and he didn't even have the decency to read it. There were some hurtful words exchanged, and I got so mad that I threw the journal out of the window of our apartment building in Korea, where we lived at the time, into the rice paddy field below, and I left. I didn't know where I was going. I couldn't call anyone because we didn't have any friends in Korea yet, and all of my friends and family back in America were asleep. It was like 3 a.m. So I just drove and cried and wondered why this hurt so much. Why did this make me so angry? I'll explain why, and hopefully shed light about the secret to why you get so angry about things in your relationship and what you can do to make things better. My name is Kimberly Holmes, and I'm the CEO of Marriage Helper. We have worked with relationships for over 20 years and have seen all the things that lead to anger. We know how it affects your relationships with your spouse, with your kids, and even with yourself. But be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we release new and relevant relationship content that you will absolutely want to hear. Comment below and tell us what you want to see more of. But here's my question. What do you do when you get angry about something? You may not even be aware, but I bet if I were to ask your spouse or your kids, they would be able to tell me exactly what you do. Do you get defensive? Do you yell? Do you become passive aggressive? Or you don't want to actually say what you're thinking, so instead you just begin doing things that show your anger, which probably leads your spouse to get angry, become defensive, yell back, and maybe even also become passive aggressive, or just shut down completely, none of which is healthy. And what's even worse is that none of this actually fixes the anger. It's all just a way that you are trying to release the tension that's building up inside of you, but it doesn't work long term. When I stormed out of our Korean apartment building at 8 o'clock at night, it might have helped me to calm down temporarily, but it didn't stop my anger. In this video, I want to share with you what's really happening when you're angry and how to change your actions and deal with your anger so that it will not ruin your relationship. Now let's talk about anger. In thinking about this, I realized that there is acute anger and chronic anger. Acute anger, just like acute pain, has a sudden onset and typically doesn't last for a long time. We all experience this. You run late to work, someone cuts you off, your kids leave their Legos everywhere, and God forbid you step on one. You know what I mean. It hurts. It makes you angry. Chronic anger is a bit different. It's something that has been festering inside for a while. It might stem from childhood, from things that a parent said about how you would never be good enough, or maybe a parent who was never there. Or maybe something that happened to you when you were a child or a teenager that left you feeling violated, confused, or maybe like you weren't good enough. Maybe it's left over from feelings you haven't dealt with regarding the loss of something or someone that you love. A family member, a friend, a job, an expectation that you had for your life that never came true. Or maybe it's because of constant lies that you have been telling yourself that stem from somewhere at some time in your life that you aren't good enough, that you'll never amount to anything, that you shouldn't even try to do anything different because nothing's ever going to change. All of these things over time pile up like weight on your shoulders. It's like each one of these things are sandbags, and the more that you have to deal with, the more sandbags you're piling on your shoulders. Every negative thought, a sandbag. Every negative circumstance, a sandbag. And they continue to pile up until finally your shoulders are going to break and you will fall under the pressure. And it's going to take a while to get back up. You see, with acute anger, the things that happen on a day-to-day basis and may give you a bad day or maybe even a bad week, it's like carrying 1 or 2 sandbags. I don't know if you've ever actually done this, but carrying a sandbag for a mile is not fun. It's extremely uncomfortable, and there's no position that makes it easier. That's kind of like acute anger. But chronic anger, that's like carrying the sandbag nonstop for weeks or months or years and never being able to put it down. But under all anger, no matter what has happened, there lies a common thread. The same thing that makes me angry when I step on a Lego is the same thing that makes me angry if I lose my job. It hurts. Follow me. Underneath anger, you will always find pain. Someone cut you off and made you angry? It hurts because you feel like you don't matter. Did you step on the Lego? It literally hurts, but it may also hurt because you asked your kids 15 times to clean it up and they didn't, and you feel disrespected. Your spouse forgot to take out the trash, even though you reminded them last night and this morning, and you sent them a follow-up text message. It hurts because you feel unseen and unheard by the person who is supposed to see you and hear you the most. You see, when Rob didn't read the journal that I had created for him, I felt like I didn't matter. I thought if I really mattered to him, if he really loved me, then he would cherish that journal. And he would not even wait to read all of it. He would go home immediately and eat the whole thing up. He would love it. But when it sat there unread, I felt uncherished, unloved, like what I did wasn't good enough. And this wasn't the first time in my life that I felt like I wasn't good enough. You see, it compounded on top of all of the memories throughout my entire life that reminded me I'm not good enough. And I continued to tell myself the story that I wasn't good enough, I didn't matter, and I wasn't valued. But it manifested in being mad about a journal. But it wasn't about the journal. If I had stopped and listened to Rob instead of attacking him, he would have told me that he loved the journal. He cherished it. He loved that I made it for him. And his reasons for not reading it yet didn't have anything to do with what he thought about me or what he felt towards me or how much he valued me in his life. That's just the story I took from what happened. And I get that this is a silly story. It's a freaking journal, Kimberly. Get over it. I actually hadn't thought about this journal in years until last night when we were out at dinner with some friends and it got brought up again and Rob and I were laughing about it. But the point is that we fight over seemingly silly things, but that's not what we're actually fighting about. There is something deeper going on. And the way that you deal with your anger doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone in your life. So you need to make sure that you are handling it in the best way possible. So here are some questions to help you navigate what to do next when you are angry. The first thing you need to do is ask yourself, why am I hurting? Not why am I angry, but what is causing me pain right now? Is it because of something that has happened in your life recently? Maybe something that happened at work or with the kids, or maybe with your spouse. But is it something that happened today or this week? Or is it something that has been accumulating over years and years that you haven't dealt with yet? Feelings of being not good enough, feeling unappreciated, feeling disrespected. Or is it a combination of both? Many times it's a combination because the things that happened yesterday are really just triggers that remind you of how much something hurt years ago. Here's number 2. Deal with the hurt. Once you can identify and find what that hurt is, find someone you can talk to. Someone wise, someone that you trust, someone who will listen to you, not just tell you what to do. Maybe it is your spouse, or maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's a coach that you find that can help you through this. But keeping it inside and trying to deal with this yourself won't work. It may feel like it works for a short amount of time, but long term, it won't. You need that person that you can vent to, that you can tell them what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and they are going to encourage you in the ways of what your strengths are, what your value is, and they will be that constant reminder for you. Here's the third thing. Know your worth. Underneath your anger is pain. And I am so sorry for whatever it is in your life that has caused that pain. Whether it's from childhood or a loss or from something a spouse has done to you, it is so hard to see your true worth and value when you are blinded by the lies that you are telling yourself from the situations that have happened in your life. Lies that may be coming from what other people have said to you or how they have treated you. And I know that my words right now aren't going to fix you or give you complete healing, but they are true. You are loved. You have a value beyond words or circumstances, and you are good enough. When you're dealing with anger that is coming from years of what you've experienced in your life, things that have happened multiple times that have hurt you, things that are just compiled even more by events that are currently happening in your life, it can be difficult to know how to deal with this. But just remember, your anger is coming from an underlying pain. Find out what that pain is and work towards healing from it. You do this for you because it's what you need to do for you. So I want to know what you think. What kind of anger have you experienced? Is it something from childhood, something recent? What are you struggling with? We always want to hear from you. And if there's anything that we at Marriage Helper can do to help you, please let us. If you are ready to fix your relationship and stop the anger cycle with you and your spouse, and learn more about how to deal with the anger that shows itself in your relationship, then we can help. We have workshops, we have online courses, we have coaching that will bring you peace and give you the tools that you need to have an amazing marriage, no matter what has happened. You can visit our website at marriagehelper.com, or you can give us a call at 866-903-0990. We have a client relations team that would be happy to tell you how our workshops, online courses, and coaching can help you in your marriage and help stop this cycle, help you heal, and help you have the relationship that you've always wanted to have.